You know, one of the challenges when it comes to good, deep spiritual work is that we often find ourselves in a place where we're dealing with opposites, where one thing seems to be true and yet another thing seems to be true. And how are we ever going to wrestle these to the ground and make them both true without having to sacrifice one for the other? In the Jewish tradition, in the Talmud, there's a good model for that. There's a structure that's used there quite often that says, you know, if this is true and that, its opposite, is also true, there must be a third truth that somehow unites them, perhaps in a very surprising way, but allows both the first and the second to be true as well as the third. Now, if you've been any kind of a reader of spiritual aphorisms, you've probably heard of the great Rabbi Hillel. And he had a great example of this. This comes from the Talmud, and it's a great example of this kind of challenge and how to address it. On the one hand, Hillel says, if I'm not for myself, then who will be for me? If I don't care about myself, if I don't value myself, if I don't put myself first and say, I've got to take care of myself, who will? Isn't that what everybody wants to do, is take care of themselves? So I have to take care of myself. So goes his first statement. His second statement is the opposite. If I'm only for myself, then what am I? Implying, am I even human if all I care about is myself? What good is that? So we have these two opposites. If I'm not for myself, who am I? And if I'm only for myself, what am I? How do I bring these two together? His answer, which is often left off, the third answer that unites these two in a very, very surprising way is, if not now, when? Notice he doesn't talk about the first one explicitly or the second one. He has a third saying that unites them both in this surprising way. If I'm only for myself, what am I? If I'm not for myself, who am I? If not now, when? In other words, don't get stuck in the paralysis of analysis. Don't get stuck in study after study after study. Go out there and be active. Get off your behind. If not now, when? Figure it out as you go. Keep both those points in each hand, creating this amazing dynamic spiritual tension about being sure that you're being good for yourself and you're being good for others at the same time, in the same volume, and staying active. So that's what I'd like to suggest you do with this program in Multi-Faith Magidut. Come, get off the fence. If not now, when? It's a great time to join the program. Our cohort starts in May, and there's several opportunities for a free taste between now and then. Thanks a lot for stopping by.